our guest of honor, so please have a seat here.
Oh, sure.
And then afterwards, there'll be a Q&A. So if you have some questions you'd like to ask Dr. Hyde, just let me know, okay? Okay. And he's going to be sharing with us his beautiful memoir and his story of Get Up One More Time. We'd like to welcome him and also his family, and we'll get underway very shortly, okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you all for joining us for this book discussion with our own resident author, Mr. Nguyen. Get Up One More Time. So I know some of us have received the book. So if you have any questions about the book or his life, you feel free to share later on.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Kelsey, and welcome everyone. This is a special moment for us to be with Dr. Hyde. He has been an important part of our community. And we often just think because he's the quiet, soft-spoken, but this is truly a man that is courageous. He has survived a lot, he's given a lot, and he's quite a hero to us. Want to take a moment to have his family who've been with us today to introduce yourself. So guys, you're gonna have to come up, okay? All of you. Oh, you can sit. You can sit down. We know who you are, okay? All right. We've just been honored to have
I was
Dr.
about to excuse
Okay.
that I cannot stand up, and she gave me the opportunity to sit down right away.
We want you to save your energy, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna start to the gentleman off here to my left. You introduce yourself? Okay, yeah. Oh, you wanna say a few words?
My name is Nguyen. I am the fourth child of 6 from my parents, my dad.
And then we'll go here.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Nguyen, and I'm the eldest son from my father. I have an older sister. Her name is Thuy. So you read the book. So my name is Daniel, or my Vietnamese name is Ha. And my parents, if some of you have watched the Brady Bunch,
Yeah.
we are the Brady Bunch. We have 3 boys and 3 girls in our family. So I am the eldest son. It's very nice to meet you all.
Very nice to meet you too.
Hi, I'm Cindy of Brady Bunch. I'm the youngest, so my name is Tal.
He's my son. He's the third child. Yeah, we have 5 children. So he's number 3. We have 4 girls and 1 boy. So he's the only boy of the family. Yeah. Yeah.
That explains it. You've been overtaken.
Yeah.
Most of you already know who I am, and I'm Sherry. And I've been here for just about 2 years. My mom, as you know, Marion Thompson, was a resident here, and this has just been a great community. And we've just met so many wonderful people. And I'm about to make a transition and leaving, but this nice gentleman just has been so warm and welcoming. I don't know, probably several of you have his book, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I strongly encourage that if we can just do a little library exchange, if you've got enough of the copies, because I think what your history and your life is very important. As many of the residents here, that they have interesting stories. And I'm hoping that Chelsea will carry on getting to know more about you, because you're a community. We're all here together, so we shouldn't be strangers. So anyways, I'm going to give this over to Dr. Nguyen. Okay.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I should say that, at least I should say that, although you have permitted me to sit down, I not stand up while talking to you. But, I have seen most, if not all of you, and see you, and talk to you, and know you, and you know me too. So that I should say, my dear friends, instead of my ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hai Nguyen. Hai Nguyen. And Hai in Vietnam, in the Vietnam language, Vietnamese language, Hai is the sea. The sea, the ocean, the sea. And that is why we use the things to talk about name, to name. And that is why I have named one of my children, my eldest son, is Ha. Ha is a river. He's smaller than me, for sure, because I'm the sea, and he is on the river. That's the way we use to name people in the families. And I have been born. I was born in Hai Phong. And Hai Phong in Vietnam is one of the most important harbor and seaport. And it is in the intersection of the Southeast Asia. That is why it is so important that when there is a war all the time, the people who like to seize it, to have it as their own, so that they can control the Southeast Asia action. And I was born not very long time ago, only 93 years. So that is why when the people ask me, how old are you, Hai? I said, I'm 39.
Switch the numbers.
That's really a joke. And I was born in Hai Phong. As I said, Hai Phong is a very important town, one of the biggest, largest harbor and seaport in the Southeast Asia. Very important strategic situation, position. That is why when there is a war, someone would like to take it. And that is why my family and I have been through many, many years under danger, under the risk of the war happening, while all our life like that. So even when I was still a young kid, when I was young, I was at first educated in the Vietnamese school, primary school. But after a few years, I was transferred. My dad asked me to be transferred to a French school, because at that time it was under the French domination, and it is better to you may have better education if you are in a French school, because they are all equipped and very good for children to be educated. And I am a family of 6. No, of 10. Of 10. I have a five son, 5 son and 5 daughters of my parents. So 5 and 5, that means 10. And I tried to follow their footsteps, but I couldn't. I could have only 6 instead of 10. So, but once again, I have 3 and 3. All the time I would be very just, very equal. I don't want to anyone to complain about it. So I have 3 and 3 girls and 3 boys. And
can I ask a question? I don't mean to interrupt. How did you come to the United States? And do you remember about that time and kind of where politically the country was? Okay.
So I was evacuated to the United States at the end of the war in Vietnam. When at that time
The North fell to the South
the
on
United
right.
States and the Viet Cong has agreed to stop the war, and then we at that time we could choose. At that time there was the agreement in which you choose to stay in the North Vietnam and be a communist.
Okay.
Or you may be evacuated to the south and become a citizen of a country which is not under communist regime. So that is why at that time my parents had to decide to go or not. Why go or not? Because they have a business also. They have all the properties over there, and if we leave, we may fall, lose everything. And that they have made the choice. The choice, the freedom instead of money or property. So we went to America that way. We become citizen later. But at the time we went there, it was in 1975 when the war ended in Vietnam. And so in the South, we have to start all over again because we have lost everything. And many other people, they are very smart and they think of money all the time. That is why they were prepared. So at the time when they have to go, they have sold their properties. They have everything they bring along with them. As for us, my parents didn't do that. That is why we lost everything. We have nothing with us, nothing. And yet, when I was in the boat to go to the south, and the people, some of the people on the boat who were kind of thieves, they are robbers. They have heard that I was a bank president or something, so that is why they want to kill me. to kill me by throwing me overboard. But thanks God, my son heard that, and then that is why I was saved. They let me alone, and until I arrived. So, and in Vietnam, what I do at first, when I was a young kid, I went to a school, on a primary school, Vietnamese, and then later on transferred to a primary school, but a French one. And as it was under domination, the French domination, that is why it is very good to have a good education for the kids there. That is why my parents chose to do that, to have me be transferred there. And then when I was in the class 11, there was an event in Vietnam, and at that time there was a revolution, and the Viet Cong seized the power, seized the authority in Vietnam, and then all the French school was closed, and I have nowhere to go to learn, to study. But later on, I could go to a Vietnamese primary school. At grade almost the last one in the primary school. And then I had the chance also to be to go higher in the education, but unfortunately my education was interrupted one more time because of the revolution, and then I didn't have where to go, but for at last I could go to a Vietnamese primary school to continue my education, and later on in the education, later on I was drafted. I was drafted to serve in the military. I was not a soldier. I was not intended to become a soldier, and yet I was drafted, and I have to stay in the Vietnamese armed forces for all the time after that, and but just thanks to the to be in the military at that time, they need the people to be trained in everything, in the armed forces as well as in the civil positions. So that is why after that I was sent to France and to attend a school of a quartermaster. Quartermaster is a corps of the army that provide to the troops food and clothing, and at that time also clothing and administration, fiscal service. That means that they are paid by the quartermaster. So, after I have been drafted, I attend a school in France. They sent me to France, to Montpellier in France, to learn the quartermaster service. And after being back to Vietnam, I served for a long time. I served in a quartermaster. But at the time, quartermaster, as I just said, that have also the financial services along with the food and clothing supply to the troops. That is why I learned some more there too. I learned in the technical, in the accounting, and everything in the finance system. So that is a good opportunity for me to know more than the other people who just went to only one school and don't know the other technical knowledge.
Well, can we take a pause and I can ask you a couple of questions?
Yes.
I think he's been so eloquently describing this, and the important thing is that for most of us, we don't get enough history, and based on any Asian history, we struggle with our own U.S. history. And that's why I thought this was so interesting, because for him to actually talk about all that had taken place over that period of time when it was that, well, of course there were a lot of battles, and that's what the main point of his book is, to say that he had gone through a lot of ordeals. And then as a Vietnamese, he was a refugee, and those are some really strong, courageous battles. And then I guess the other thing why he says get up one more time is that he, not once but 3 times, was involved with wars, and that including the Vietnam War, but that they were lost. But he survived and carried on, and that's why we have him here today. So would you like to answer any more questions? If anyone
Yes,
has some?
yes.
Yeah, would anyone like to ask him questions?
What was your involvement in the Vietnam War? How did you participate in it? What was your role in the Vietnam War?
The Vietnam War.
Yes.
At that time, as I said, I was assigned to the quartermaster. So that is why I didn't have to go to the
Actual
forces
battlefront?
outside. Yeah, I just stayed in Saigon.
So you were not engaged in battle at all? You, no?
Yes.
Was your work pretty much administrative kind of work? Administrative in Saigon?
Yes,
You said you were in
yes.
Saigon? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That is why I was fortunate that I don't have to go to fight.
Yeah.
So although I was an officer who climbed up to the rank of lieutenant colonel, but I never fight one day, never killed anyone.
Good. All right, anyone else? Well,
May I ask another question?
sure.
You
Ask
may
us.
have mentioned this already, but describe the process of coming from Vietnam to America. You may have talked about it already, but I'd like to, if you could describe it again, your immigration from Vietnam to America.
Vietnam to America. At that time, it is very, very interesting because I have a cousin. He's the son of my aunt, and he's a captain of a ship, of a private ship. And at the time when there was so many struggle down up in the northern area of Vietnam, so many people had to evacuate from there to the south. And then they went on the boat that those boats that I got had to transport them from North Vietnam, from north of the South Vietnam at that time, from the north part of Vietnam to the south, to Saigon. And during those, it was a kind of fight, a struggle among the refugees, the evacuators, because they want to have a seat in the boat or anything to get out. And then that is why so many people were drowned, because they musculated them, and then someone fall on the river or on the sea. And at that time, no one came to save them at all. So many people died by that. So that is why my cousin, he's afraid. He's afraid to use more of his ship to get out of the country. So he and his family, my uncle, my aunt, went to my family and lie down on the floor to sleep overnight, so that to wait for me to be evacuated by the U.S. Air Force, or the plane, U.S. plane. So that is why they were there, instead of using his own means to get out of Vietnam. So they came and lie on the floor to live there, waiting for me to be airlifted by the USAID. But finally, the USAID was obligated to evacuate by air on about almost 300 VIP that needs to be out, otherwise they are in danger, and I am among them. That is why my cousin want to come to my house, so that to go along with me as a family, to go by air instead by going by his boat. But later on, at the last time when they set up a schedule, the flight for me commercially, the airport was bombed, and then there's no more plane.
Yeah.
That is why when at that time I worked for the Prime Minister's office, and I stayed until the end. At that time, I could have been airlifted before, but I didn't go. I stayed with the Prime Ministers and the staff there until the end. That is why I have to go by boat, and whose boat is it? It is my cousin. So we finally could get out of Vietnam, thanks to him, and not to me. Thanks to him, all my family, instead of all his family going along with me by air, and this time it is all my family going around on the boat. And it is him as captain.
Dad, can I add something?
Sure, please, come on up.
Yeah, so I was only 7 when we went on the boat, the boat where one of the original boat people. But I know stories that, we were fortunate that our whole family was able to come together. There are other families that I was too young to know, but later on I knew that there are families that there was not enough space on the boat. So a mother would sacrifice herself and toss her child to the boat so that she can survive. And, she was left behind. So that was a lot of stories that are very, very sad. But we were very fortunate.
Very fortunate. And that was an important part of history for America. It was during a social upheaval that most of you may have known. It was a very contested war. I like history, as you can see. But again, that Vietnam era, we lost a lot of young men, hundreds of thousands of young men. I think the last amount was over 100,000, or I'm sure I'm probably just being real conservative, but a lot of important things happened too. And to have this influx of Asians that have become a part of our society and culture, I think that's what it's all about, how we're going to get along and how we're going to grow together. And again, it's always not only a nation, but it's a world that if it's divided, it'll fall. And we must continue to work to learn about each other's cultures, because we all have struggles. When we start talking about the African American experience, do we have stories to tell? And I hope that Chelsea will begin that discussion and as you go along, because I think it helps us to reflect on where we've been, but still there's a road ahead for us. So we can't turn in the towel just because we're we're at this point in our lives. There are a lot of people don't get here to this point. So I want to thank everyone. I know everybody's getting ready for their evening, and thanks for coming out. Help yourself to some cupcakes. We picked up a couple of those, and I think you've got some water on hand. And thanks for coming. All right. Thank you. And then you can get additional. Get up one more time, okay? And it's we usually say memoir, but he says a personal odyssey, which I think is a really unique way to describe it.
If any one of you want to have the book, I'm very glad to offer you.
Okay, so I tell you what, those interested will get with Chelsea, and then you'll know how many that, and if you would, personalize it. Yeah, because that's what he's done for us, yeah. So definitely, is this yours? You're like,
yeah, so I sell autograph and give you the book, if you let me know that you want it.
I heard that's the way he said it.
Thank you so much, very much. Think about you every time I use this book. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you want you know this? Your support.
I saw you.
It went
And
very
so I
well.
come say hi. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm really
thank
sorry
you.
that I couldn't come, but I'll see you on Monday, okay?
Thank you. Have a good day.
Now we need to get her name.
He's such a fine lecturer.
enjoyed listening. So clear.
Yeah. Yes.
This English is so clear.
Very good.
He's good. He's good. He's good.